Hello and welcome to Hidden Existence. Hope everyone's doing all right out there tonight. Sorry we're running a little bit late. Still waiting for our guest to get online. I know she's on with it now. But in the meantime, we've got with us, of course, as usual, for Drawing Bigfoot, Larry BATTSON and his son, Mark, Larry's son.
How you doing, guys? It ain't our son.
Added that.
That's how stuff gets started on the internet.
It was a rumor. I've just carried it on. I heard it somewhere. Someone told me. I can't remember where.
Oh, wait a second.
I think it was on here.
Oh, wait, I looked the wrong way. I should look this way. Wait a second. Well, I see people ask sometimes, like, who's that guy? I was like, well, let me just put it in my name.
Yes. Yeah. I guess most people know.
Mm-hmm.
Now.
The true Hidden Existence fans.
Oh, yeah, they should know.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because it all was revealed first night you came on and did. It was a Drawing Bigfoot night, wasn't it?
Yeah. First half was a story, reunion story, and then the second half was drawing.
Yeah. How have you, what have you learned about Bigfoot since you got with your dad?
Oh, my goodness. I still have more questions than I have answers. And what I've gotten is a lot of great stories. Just hearing these stories have been incredible. Yeah. So I think I have more questions than I have answers, but I have no definitive decisions either way as far as the target species goes.
Have you any sort of like? Go on, sorry, Larry.
I was just saying I have more answers than questions.
Oh, sweet. We'll talk offline.
Knowing what with what questions? So you've no sort of like urge to go looking in the woods, or have you been out looking?
Me? No.
No,
I haven't. I live such an urban life because I'm in Astoria, Queens, which couldn't be more concrete. But this summer, if we make it out that way, maybe we'll get to do a little exploring. That way, I mean, to the Midwest. Hopefully, maybe do a little exploring. That'd be fun. I'd love to take Larry and go explore his property, and that'd be fun because maybe we could do it as like a show.
yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it, if you found something?
Yeah.
What have you guys got on at the moment on your Facebook? What sort of guests have you got coming up?
Oh, we got Carl. I'd say his last name, but I'd screw it up.
Steinfeld. We got him on Saturday night. Rock and roll photographer. He's photographed Bob Dylan. I mean, just saying Bob Dylan alone will get anybody involved. But Saturday night on Animal Tracks, Larry's show that we host together, it's incredible. It's going to be incredible. He's got probably 40 years of photographing rock legends, and we're going to get a chance to ask him anything we want. Come join us, and we can we'll throw your questions in there too. So if you don't have Facebook, get it.
You're out of luck.
You can't do it
for now.
Well, you don't know. We're going to talk later.
Well, we're going to tell. I'm going to ask him about the time Chuck Berry wanted to beat him up.
Oh.
So,
oh, right. That'd be an interesting one.
I think Chuck Berry probably wanted to beat up
everybody.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see how my guest is getting on. Why don't you tell us a bit more about the other shows that you're doing? You do some drawing stuff.
Yeah, he's got an animal art class, right, Larry? Sorry, I'm not.
Start next week. Animal art class fun. Next week for the children, big children, old children.
Children at heart.
Children at heart. People that don't have anything else to do, we draw.
Yes. Follow along while Larry draws one of his very signature style pieces about an animal. Talks about it while he's drawing it. And at the end, if you chose not to draw, you can choose to buy the piece that Larry drew because he will go in and do the pastels and do all the color. He's sold many pieces that way because they're just incredible. If you have a suggestion for an animal you'd like to see on that show, Just
I probably
message
can't draw it.
That's not true. There's no
Well,
way.
I don't even have a clue how to draw it. So good luck with that.
There's no way you don't know how to draw.
I've just put a link now to Larry's Facebook page. Go and send him a friend's request. You'll have to be quick because he's not got many. If you only get 5,000, Larry's almost maxed out. He's
just 5,000.
You know, it's not enough, is it? But,
you know, and I know every one of them. That's what's so sad.
I know it must take you a long time
His
to
hand cramps up.
respond with them all.
Yeah,
Christmas time when he's doing all those Christmas cards to his closest friends.
Oh no! I delete them friends then come Christmas time because they might want gifts.
Oh yeah, good point.
Cards is about like a gift because it costs what $3-4 to send a postcard now or a Christmas card.
Yep.
So
every stamp is $5.
So I start deleting these friendships come about November and start all over again. I don't want them. They expect gifts. They expect cards.
That's
who do we have? Larry, who do we have Friday night? We got talking all Bigfoot.
Well, I was trying to say before you opened your mouth,
Carl
G.
Yeah. Carl Gotro. Carl Gotro. He'll be a good guest. He'll be a great guest.
He's nuts.
But look, luckily our guest has made it, Heidi. We are live, so I'm just giving you a heads up, Heidi. We've already gone live. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Heidi.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. It made me change like 10 account passwords to everything, so I'm on my phone.
Good old Google.
I'm sorry.
No,
no, it's not that. I can't get on my work computer, which is the one I'm on all the time. You know, because they watch everything you do. So I'm trying to get on my other computer, which hasn't been. I got to dust it off. You know.
Good. Well, you're here now, and that's the main thing.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I'm so glad you.
Can you see me and hear me? Okay.
Can hear you. See, great.
Okay.
So let's start with getting into your encounter before Larry starts drawing it. Get us into where you were, how old you were. I know you're quite young, and quite an unusual encounter as well. But I'll let you tell us what happened.
Okay, so this was, I'm estimating about 1978. I'm not sure if I was 7 or 8, but I was very young. So both my parents were teachers. They were art teachers. So they liked to. So we took grand adventures out west for at least a month out of every summer, if not longer. So my grandmother had a Class C camper. And so we would grab the camper the day after school let out and head west. So this time, my mom wanted us to see the wildlife in Yellowstone. So we went up to, of course, Yellowstone Park, Montana. And I remember that we were there because we didn't have a car we were towing, and my mom was going up the road to the sun with the camper, which the park security weren't too crazy about, you know, because it just barely made the limit, you know, to turn the corners and such. And so we parked, you know, we camped, you know, as close as we could to, you know, inside the park. Of course, it gets really crowded. And but I remember, so we took the camper, took it up to the road to the sun. We dropped my dad off to go fishing because he liked to trout fish. And so it was my brother and I and my mother. So there was no male figure. It was like a woman with 2 children. And so we started going up this really steep hike. I believe it was to a waterfall. And I had asthma. I still have it. But so I used to kind of run ahead to overcompensate and then let people catch up with me. I was just back then I had more energy and more wind. So that's what I would do. I'd run ahead and then let everybody catch up with me because I sometimes had trouble with the elevation changes and we were at a pretty high elevation. So I just remember walking along a path and I was about 200 yards in front of my brother and my mom, who were otherwise engaged in conversation. And I saw like this black streak go by really, really quickly. Like I'd never seen anything move. And like I said, we'd been out west a lot, so we'd been exposed to grizzly bears. I've never seen anything move that fast in the forest. But so I wasn't sure what I caught out of the corner of my eye, to be honest with you. But I know as I tried to step forward from there, because I glanced off to the side, I stopped right in my tracks, and there was a large 90% hippie, maybe 10% ape-like figure in front of me, about 5 feet from me, and as if he was blocking my path. I don't know if he was trying to protect me from whatever that thing was, or if he was the thing running by. So, and he just completely blocked my path. There was no way I was going anywhere from, he was behind a tree, and we were pretty intelligent little children. So we'd kind of heard about the whole Patterson-Gimlin thing and everything like that. And it was just, we're from the Midwest, so everything happens 10 years later, or I don't know, what was it, 8, 9 years later, it started to talk about it in my area. And so I didn't know what else to say. I just kind of stood there frozen. And then I finally said, "Hi, Bigfoot," which I know seems unbelievable and like a ridiculous story that no one would believe, but that's what I said. And this thing like laughed. It kind of like let out this great big laugh. And I mean, I wasn't scared of it at all. So it just stood there for, I don't know, a minute or two. And then I turned and I heard my brother making a lot of noise, as he always did. He was like ADHD. So he's coming along the trail, and the thing just took off. I turned around, it was gone. So.
And the thing you addressed was the thing that kind of stopped you in the trail?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It wasn't really even a trail. I wasn't sure at that point if we were even on the trail anymore. It's kind of early June, and it was pretty overgrown by then, so it's kind of hard to tell where the trail was, because it didn't look like it was well used. It looked more like a game trail.
Gotcha.
And I'd say we were probably at least, we're pretty high up there in elevation, 9,000, 10,000 feet at least, maybe 11. So we were really high up there. So, it wasn't, and that's before, they built, all those ski villages and everything. So there really wasn't anything up there.
Where was it? What state?
Montana. There's a road, they call it the road to the sun, because it literally goes, you're facing west. So as you drive up the mountain, and so you literally look like you're driving into the sun during the day.
Yeah. I've driven that road. Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
It's near Glacier, right?
Glacier, yeah.
It is, right. Mm-hmm.
So
That's
you
true.
got a good look at its face, Heidi?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
And just to understand it better for my own visual,
Mm-hmm.
you were walking there, and you saw this streak, and then the thing that we're talking about, the subject, is what jumped in front of you and was just kind of like, stop.
Right. And I don't know, because something leads me to believe that the streak was a bear, because and it was running from the creature, because the thing that was standing in front of me had red hair, and it wasn't fully covered in hair. I mean, it had almost human-like hair, like a man who hadn't groomed himself in a while, but not gorilla-like, or it's like a hippie. But it definitely wasn't human though, because
dreads.
Well, no, it didn't have that. It had almost like a David Bowie long hair that looked like it had kind of broken off, you know, like longish hair, but it looked broken off or like split. And then it only came to about here, his actual hair on the back of his head. But he had facial hair, you know, on the cheeks, and he had a protruding ape-like mouth, a very wide, and he had a very, you know, big grin. I mean, his face was a lot wider than mine.
Hmm.
So you would say, like, looking at it, you would say, I could identify that was not a person. That was.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And it laughed.
I did.
Hello, Bigfoot.
It's like it knew its name, and I don't know how or why. But he seemed to somehow understand what I was saying, you know, or yeah, I was just kind of trying to break the silence.
Yeah.
Or it felt your intention wasn't negative.
Right.
You know, maybe it picked up on that.
You didn't shriek.
Yeah.
You said something in a communicative.
Right.
That's
right.
not a word.
It is. Is it? I'll Google it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 8, you know, you don't really you don't hear, and I guess I'm trying to explain. So I kind of think you know, the movies and the media have made us all think that he's some horrible creature that wants to kill and eat people. And, you know, it was a different world back in the 70s. And if Bigfoot has become mean, it's certainly because people have hounded him, I think. You know, I don't think he's done that of his own volition. I think that he probably feels like people haven't left him alone, or they haven't, you know, they approach him with guns and, you know, traps and follow him with cameras. And, you know, you can imagine how just any human would react to that type of behavior.
Yeah. Good point.
All right, let's roll. Let's see if we can do this.
Okay.
What was the shape of the top of his head, Heidi?
I want to say he really had like a normal human shaped head. He did not have, I didn't see a peak on the top of the head at all. So it was typical human. His face was a little broader than, you know, I would say it's.
Would that be accurate? Can you see
it's hard for me to see it, but yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it on the big screen for now, and then you can, and then
Okay.
you'll be able to see better. And if you,
Of course.
yeah,
Was there a brow ridge?
There was not quite Neanderthal, but it did stick out.
Okay. Can you see where my pencil is right now?
Yes.
I'm going to slowly move it down. You tell me where to stop, where you think the brow ridge started.
Okay. Keep going. There, maybe? A little higher. A little higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it thick or thin?
I would say it was like 1.5 to 2 inches. I mean, it was thick, but it didn't protrude a lot. It was almost like if you see somebody now that has a really protruded brow ridge. So it wasn't Neanderthal, but it was somewhere between like a human and a Neanderthal brow ridge.
Would that be accurate?
Yeah. And his eyes were connected to the ridge. So.
Okay. Now,
yeah.
One thing I want you to realize that anything that I draw that does not look right, I want you to tell me.
Right. Okay. So the bottom of the ridge, there was really no bottom like that you could visually see. It protruded from the top.
Mm-hmm.
But his eyes were part of the brow ridge. So just like, you know, he had really deep set eyes, and there was like his forehead right where his brows were,
Were
you know,
they
stuck
large
out.
eyes? Were they large eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were brown, or
Solid? Did you see any white at
no,
all?
I very human-like.
You saw the whites then?
Yes. I mean, they were almost, you know, I'm trying to really struggle to remember, but I think they were brown.
Well, that's
Something.
not just so dark and light. It's in charcoal, so
Sure.
that's not. Yeah. Is that shape right?
Yes.
Is that size?
Well, a little bit more. They were a little bit narrower at the ends of the eyes.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Towards the ear or towards the nose?
No, like on either end of the eye. So
Oh,
like
gotcha.
where your tear duct is, and then the edge, like where a woman would put her eyeliner. It was narrower, just exactly like a human eye, but larger.
Perfect.
Like that?
Yes.
The bridge of the nose, was that thick or thin? Do you remember?
Yes. So he had, I would say it was thick. And then it went down to almost a flat nose, but there was like a little bit of a lump on the end, like a human would have.
But up here, how'd it look, Heidi?
It was broad, but it got broader, you know, just like a human nose. Only I'd say, you know, it was proportionate to the eyes, you know, the larger size eyes, and then this part was thicker than a human's. So by maybe a ½ inch on either side or so. It was a lot wider.
Was it a long nose?
I would say it was stout, like a human nose, but somebody that almost like I don't know, like someone who's been in fights.
Oh,
kind of like a Mike Tyson type nose.
Yeah.
Almost like it was like somebody had broke the tip of his nose and it like that. Like it was
We hear that a lot, right?
pushed
Daniel?
in.
A lot about the end of the nose.
There's something they're doing that's pancaking that tip.
Yeah.
It didn't look like broken to describe it, though. It looked like that's, you know, that's how he was born. I mean, almost like a Neanderthal nose. He's very Neanderthal-like. And someone had asked me on one of the channels, because they asked me if the smile was, if he almost seemed like, you know, like a person with a disability who just has that constant smile.
Yeah.
It was almost like that, but I didn't sense, though, like anything like that. It was more like he was excited to see me. That's what led me to believe it was a younger, like maybe.
How tall was it? Not.
So my dad, I was trying to estimate him. I know my dad was 6'4", and when I was a kid, his nickname was actually Uncle Bigfoot, but he wasn't anywhere near, and that has nothing to do with the story, by the way. But he was nothing compared to the size of this thing. So I would say he was between 7 and 8 foot tall.
I was just curious.
Wow.
So, because I was like right there, you know, I mean, I literally was within 5 feet of him.
Well, how does that nose look?
Let me get it up.
Perfect. That looks good. Really good. I think his nostrils were a little more rounded.
Oh, so they so it yeah.
So
I gotcha.
they were a little larger. His like where the bump flares out on the nostrils was a little. Yeah, there you go.
And you could
Scary.
see
It's coming alive.
you could
Is
see
that-
up
is that
the
accurate?
nostril. Yeah.
Is that accurate, Heidi?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes the eyewitness account, you can't see up the nostrils. You just see
Right.
Straight
the
on.
shape of the nose pointing down, but you could see up the
Mhm.
nostrils like what Larry's drawn.
No, I can't say I could see up the nostrils really.
So you,
A little bit, just a little bit.
I guess with you just being shorter, you're seeing it from that angle where you're looking
Right,
up.
right,
You are looking up, essentially, aren't you?
right. I definitely had to look up to him. But I was a tall kid, I mean, not super tall at the age of 8, but I've always been like, I'm 6 foot now. So, but I was a tall kid, but he definitely, I was trying to use my father as a reference to compare the height, and he definitely was at least a foot, if not more, taller than my father was, probably more.
would you say the tip of the nose was low enough that it blocked a little lower than what Larry's drawn?
Yes, a little lower, and the nostrils were a little round, like the fleshy part of the nose was a little rounder.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
You keep saying he, you definitely know it was a male.
It was for sure. I saw his upper body. He was partially behind a tree, but he was like 3/4 of the way out. But there was enough hair covering, like the genital area. And as a kid, you wouldn't look there anyway. But
Yeah.
I was so transfixed on his face. It's, how some people like, almost like you can't move kind of a thing. But I think it was just more shock than anything.
But you didn't see anything in the chest hole area that led you to believe that the person you were interacting with was feeding or prepared to feed a infant.
No, not at all.
Gotcha.
And definitely the bill.
We're not even drawing that part, so it doesn't matter.
Draw it. No, no.
Well, it's a good reference.
We need to know these things.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't as hairy as like a lot of people describe it as, almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen that show. Have you guys ever seen that show about that man in the woods that lives in Washington, that lives off the land in the forests of Washington and runs around, and he walks into town every now and then, but he hasn't had his hair cut, or, he does wear clothes, but so he appeared almost like that, but he had this, so he did have an ape-like protrusion of the mouth, and then that,
Those lines,
those lines that come down, and then it protrudes a little bit.
Gives it a bit of a muzzle. Yeah.
Wasn't like a dog man, but it was sort of almost like a silverback area that comes under the mouth, but then the mouth curled up like a human's, but it was much, much wider, and it was thin.
The upper lip.
And he was, he had a big grin. His lips were pretty even.
So,
but he did definitely have lips.
So he had it kind of like this.
No.
No.
Well, under the nose, yes, but he definitely had lips.
Yeah. All right. Okay. But that kind of thing, kind of crease around the nostrils.
Yes, the crease is like that.
All right. Okay, now follow my pencil from the bottom of his nose down and tell me where the mouth started, if you can recall.
Up a little. That's good, yeah.
And you say he was smiling at you.
A very broad grin.
Did you see teeth?
Very, very wide. I did see a few teeth, but just like you know, not even a half inch of them. I mean, it was mostly
No,
lips.
we won't worry about that then.
Okay. But he definitely had that, you know, that little hump that we have in our lip, and then the ends of his mouth were definitely turned up, like a smile, you know, like a
Smirk.
You didn't see any teeth though.
little bit, just maybe that much, you know, just a couple.
Okay. We'll get that in the shading.
Okay.
Okay, now on his chin, from his mouth area, I'll follow my pencil to the bottom of his chin.
Right about there. Well, no, go a little, maybe a little further.
Down or up?
I think you're good with the chin. Mm-hmm.
What was the shape of the chin like?
Pointy or rounded?
Round, like almost round square, if that makes sense. So squarish with rounded edges.
Like a bowl? Oh, gotcha.
I'm trying to think of a comparison.
What does that look like?
That looks pretty good.
Is that
Oh,
pretty
that's good.
much on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think there was a little more room around the side of the face.
Okay. All right. Now, the sides of his head.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say he had big cheekbones?
I definitely saw cheekbones.
Okay.
From here?
Yes. Just like a man's. A little bit of that muscular where it's a little concave right here. Mm-hmm. So that musculature in the face for somebody that's very athletic.
Is that
Like
looking
that?
like it?
Yes. But a contour of like the outside of his shape flowed just like a human. I mean, just
Larry, can you see
oval.
the screen? I think she's like this part. This.
Right.
Yeah.
It
the
met up.
interior, which you get in shading. He'll
Oh,
know
okay.
that in shading. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't notice any kind of point or that so many people describe, which I keep wanting to say that I saw that, but that's not what I saw.
He had a lot of hair though, didn't he? Or he seemed to.
He did. He had, you know, like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, his hair.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with the beard, you know, he had kind of like a Shaggy from Scooby-Doo look going on.
A lot of hair on this one. A lot of them there isn't a lot of
Well,
hair.
as a kid, as an 8-year-old.
Well, zoinks.
All right. Let's what does that look like, Heidi?
Good. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're showing the musculature. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And this is okay.
Yes.
And this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it dead on?
Well, it was a little more rounded, I would say. Like the cheekbones protruded more in this area, so I didn't see them starting all the way back to the ear. It was more this part stuck out, like the actual thick part of the bone that,
Okay.
you know, that's here. You're right. Mm-hmm.
All right.
More like the cut in and drop.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. More
Could
of
you
this
see the
cut
ears?
in and
Could
drop.
you see ears, Heidi?
I could not see the ear. I could not see
Okay.
the ears under the hair.
All right. So is that basically it?
Yes. But the mouth,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, was definitely
Wider.
wider this way. Not yeah. So from here to here,
taller.
yeah, a lot.
More lip or more?
Definitely more lip.
Okay. More bottom lip and upper lip.
Mm-hmm.
Thickness wise.
I would say just about like mine. I mean, just about like a human, only it was wider.
Okay, so upper lip and lower lip a little wider there.
Okay, well, we'll do that when we get to shading part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do the eyes. And you said there was white in the corner of their eyes like a human?
Yeah, there was white all the way around, and then he had the brown centers and that glinty
white?
area that you see in a human's eye versus an animal's eye.
Mm.
Was there any white up here by the brow, around the eye? Up there? If you remember.
I didn't.
You didn't see anything?
I didn't see any.
Okay, all right.
But it might have been just such a heavy brow line.
Mm.
Just shielding it.
And what about any smell? Did you smell anything?
I didn't. No. I don't remember that that experience. But it wasn't thick with fur like other people describe. It was more just like a super hairy guy, you know. And because his hair was like a reddish brown, you could see the skin through it. You know, he had like a tan color skin, not a black or, you know, it's like someone who'd been out in the sun like a lot.
Mm.
And it was only, you know, it was only June, so you could tell he'd been out there for a long time.
But you told me earlier you got the impression he was young though, maybe. Possibly a juvenile.
Yeah, one of the things that led me to think that is I don't remember much of a mustache. And I don't know if it was because of the ape-like appearance, which it could be because that mouth, I remember being very ape-like. So I didn't see like a man's mustache type of, I mean, I would say I wouldn't say extremely young, like maybe 30, but it, you know, it's hard to tell when someone's been outside for a long time, they age quicker.
I mean, there's all different reports and descriptions, and not all of them have hair on the face at all. In fact, very few we've done have had hair on the face. So it's interesting seeing the differences. I think I did a flyer where I've kind of got them all.
Oh, nice. Wow.
You know, it's more like the one on the upper right, definitely, but even more human-like than that.
Yeah,
So,
that account was interesting because what they said was initially they thought it was a person.
So yeah, they're all different, and you know they don't all have the hair even on the lip, you know. So, and this was
I remember
this was Mark Zaski's from last week, the last time we did it.
Well, I remember my first thought was that's not a person. That was like my very first thought. But then I thought, God, it kind of looks like a hippie. You know, those were the hippie days. But then, you know, I mean, then you take in the size and the strength and everything else about it, and there's just no possible way. You know, I'm German, and I mean, I have like large, tall relatives, and I've never seen anybody look like that, you know?
Yeah.
So you just like, you go, whoa, okay, what is
There's a
this
presence.
thing?
Yeah.
I mean, you
presence.
definitely, you can't move because, and you know, some people say you get hypnotized by their eyes, you know, maybe that was the case, but I think it's just more like shock. Like, you know, I obviously I was 8 and I wasn't going to go past this thing. It didn't want to allow me to go past. And I didn't get the sense that I was in danger. But now that I think back on it, I think, oh, maybe he was a creepy Bigfoot. You know, I don't know. So
that's the always, isn't it? Afterwards, the what ifs, that playing your mind.
Hearing adults have that exact same experience.
And for a child,
and
then for a child to have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean,
How did you deal with it? I mean, did you just put it to one side? Did you tell your parents, or?
I was kind of quiet back then. I think I might have said something to my brother, and he kind of blew it off and just laughed at me. And then same thing with my mother, who still to this day tells me I saw a bear. So, which, you know, maybe she just can't grasp that concept. I don't know, but you know, but I'd, you know, I mean, we've been very close to, you know, not 5 feet from grizzlies, but we'd been a couple 100 yards from grizzly, and a grizzly doesn't stand up behind a tree and go like that. And you know, here's the tree, you know, they don't go and you know, put their whole body out, you know, to stop you.
They
and
go away from you or
and,
toward you?
toward me. Yeah. Definitely. And, you know, just kind of have a foot and a leg and everything that size in front of you. You're not going anywhere. I mean, it didn't even occur to me to like run or anything like that. I wasn't creeped out. I did kind of turn around like, oh, okay, where's my family? What's going on? You know, but at that point, then, you know, when he heard my noisy brother, it's like, he was like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with this guy. You know?
Wow.
My brother would have chased him down probably. So,
did his laugh kind of make it easier for you to deal with this thing? Maybe.
Definitely. It was this, you know, like, I mean, like I told him the funniest thing he'd heard all week or something, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
How, you know, how would you know that you're referred to as Bigfoot? Or
that's interesting.
was he roaming around and other people were pointing Bigfoot and screaming at him? You know, probably. You know, if you live in Yellowstone, I mean, there's a lot of acreage there, but you probably run into people now and then or see them, especially if you're as quick and agile as that.
Or
But
maybe it was an energy response, a read of the energy, the calm, kind of like complacent energy of, oh, hey, maybe that was what it was reading and not the words.
Bigfoot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm seeing one of these small people and they're just kind of
Well,
talking to me like anybody else.
there are these like reports like of them watching children, you know, and women, and you know, just like being kind of intrigued with that.
Holy smokes, Larry.
How are we doing so far?
Just scared the crap out of me. Sorry.
Good. It's a little, well, I'll have to wait and see the rest of the shading. A little dark around the eyes, little.
Oh, they weren't.
No, I mean the skin part, but it was recessed for sure.
Oh.
So I would say it was dark around the outside of the eyes, like you know, just the shadows, but then not so much on the nose and other areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just like a human's eyes with deep set eyes would have like shading around it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He just scared Mark.
Well, that's not that difficult to do.
So when he left, do you remember how he left? Oh, I think we've lost Heidi. Her screen. I know you guys can't see it, but I can see that her screen's frozen. So hopefully she'll come back. Have you ever heard an account like this, Larry, where one's laughed or?
I have absolutely. I've heard him I've heard him use human language, or not me, but I've heard reports where they've called the dog. I mean, the guys are on the porch, and the big Rottweiler wouldn't go into the woods, but he'd growl, and then out of the woods they could hear someone going, "Moogly, Moogly."
Wow.
That was the dog's name. Yeah. They can basically, my feelings, what I've been told by the hundreds of people I've talked to, their vocalizations that they can make. They can imitate any animal in the forest, any bird, and anything. They can imitate it. Of course, there are a wide variety of the sounds that they make too. So, it's
do monkeys, apes? Can they do that?
no, they can't. And,
so there's something going on with the vocal cords or the intelligence, or
well, that's it. And plus, I've said this before. This is not close. This is not like one DNA point from us. This is something completely different. This is not an ape. People think, we're essentially, technically we are, but this is their intelligence is superior to ours when it comes to the outdoors. I mean, we're just puny. We're just pitiful. I mean, there's no way we can even match up, or
yeah,
it just isn't going to happen.
Heidi, how's this looking? Welcome back, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, my phone died.
Okay.
Good, really good, for sure.
You happy with that? That's looking like it, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe his skin. I want to say his skin was almost like a Caucasian with a tan tone. So not real dark, not gorilla-like or anything.
Okay.
But
the general outline.
right, it's so much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you sent him my sorry little sketch, but
I did. Yeah, I did.
I don't have any training in drawing humans, so.
I don't either.
Or like Bigfoot.
I don't either.
I mean, Ray is like, we should create a course how to draw Bigfoot.
Well, is your man?
Would I mind? Yeah, very much so, because everybody be doing this at the show.
Yeah, some people are mentioning Diane Fowler says it's no white Bigfoot. There was one hollering a name in the field close to her house. And Gene Hudson, they speak English. They just rearrange the wording and talk 3 times faster.
Yeah, I've heard something like that. That's almost like a gibberish. It's so fast. He didn't say anything though, so I don't have a reference.
No.
Yeah.
But they definitely must hear people, hunters, hikers talking and pick up stuff like that. So I think Bomber came in a little bit late, and she's asking how White was laughing, but you said hi to it, hadn't you?
I think the fact that I said hi Bigfoot made it laugh. I think it recognized what I said or understood what I said.
So you think that black thing was a bear then, the thing that moved fast because of the different color?
I do, because of the different color. Unless this Bigfoot was just lightning fast. I don't know how it could have been off to the side of me and then in front of me that quickly, but
there could have been 2. I'm not trying to
No, I mean, it could have been, or it could have been that thing moving so fast that, you know, maybe he was tracking alongside us like they say they sometimes do. Whatever it was a flash of black is all I saw. And I think it was an animal trying to get away from him because of how people say that in the forest, when a Bigfoot comes in, everything else just takes off, you know? Almost like when a lion comes in an area, everything is very aware and can, you know, sometimes take off or.
Yeah. It's crazy account. Not crazy, but you know what I'm saying. Just very. It's the second one. I had Katie G on. She was young. She was 8 or 9, and she saw one. And the different experiences, how children experience it to adults. Have you kind of like had any worrying time with it? Has it ever stressed you out at any point, or have you had like nightmares thinking?
No, but I'm always looking for him, you know, especially like we just came from North Carolina, and when I hear a loud bang in the middle of the night outside or something large moving through the forest, you know, like we took our dog with us, so there was a fenced in yard, and I heard something very large behind there, and my first thought really wasn't a bear, you know. It was more like it's Bigfoot. I don't know why that, you know, I guess just because, you know, I've seen more bear, of course, but it's a different sound that they make than a bear, you know. Bears tend to be more, I mean, they make noise, but they're more quiet than this thing, you know, like you don't know they're coming up on you, but this thing, you know, you hear it coming, you know. And it's not like a thump thump sound like they make it. It's more the rustling of the leaves and just loud noises in the forest that you just think it's not possible for something else to make that much noise. Yeah. Even in the still of the night, you know.
And they can move very quietly though as well also, can't they? You know, we hear sounds like that. So it's obviously sometimes wants to show itself to people. There's definitely intention.
How are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. How's that looking, Heidi?
It's looking good. I would say that the cheeks. So there was a bit of a. Is my microphone okay down here?
Yeah, it's good.
It was a bit of a cut to, you know, like definitely the lump there, but then it cut more towards that ape-like line around the mouth. So it went down towards the edge of the corner of the mouth. Just like somebody who's really athletic, you know, they have that sort of line that goes from the edge of the cheek, from the outside of the cheek down to the mouth.
Like that.
Camera's up if you want to look, Larry. The screens are up.
So
I mean, I'm not
kind of like Mark's
athletic,
showing
but you mean this line here?
Mark's trying to look as athletic as possible over there.
It goes down to the edge of the mouth. This line.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Coming in a bit more.
Cheekbone, it cuts in more like a.
So do you want it? Should it come in a bit more, Heidi?
Yeah, it should come in.
How's that?
From the edge of the face where the lump is, where the cheekbone starts, to the edge of the mouth. There's like a line, an additional line. Not the outside of the face line, but like a athletic cut.
Cheekbone kind of.
Yeah, no, almost like diagonal from the edge of the cheekbone, then going here.
Oh, right. Okay. Can you see that, Larry?
So like Mark's showing. Yeah,
maybe the face needs to be a bit longer, does it? To take that in.
Not really. I don't think it's not long enough. I think it's more like what Mark's showing, where if you suck in your cheeks, you get that line. Just like a runner would have, you know, that.
So the jaw is
really
still strong, like he's drawing, but the cheekbone.
Yeah, the cheekbone is from here to there. It's almost like a diagonal cut line.
Gotcha.
Like with muscle, like this area is very muscular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it right in, I think, Larry, and to the end of the
end of the mouth. Yeah.
That's it.
Very happy. I'm very happy to give an example to the athletic cheekbone.
I see that.
Yeah,
you know, good. That'll all, the therapy is I can see the difference already. I can see the improvement already.
That was a good one.
Bomber asks, and actually is a good point. The laughing, was it a laugh or in a soothing way or a laughing way? Was it a reassuring, don't worry, I've got that bear kind of maybe laugh? Or
no, like just like if you were talking to somebody and you said a really good joke kind of laugh. Yeah, it was, because there was definitely a delay, you know, where it was very silent for at least a minute or two. And then I had to take this thing in and figure out what it was. And then that's when I just kind of blurted out, you know, like, hi, Bigfoot. You know, like it probably came to my brain and went straight out my mouth what I was looking at, you know.
Did you get the sense it was waiting for a reaction? And then when you finally reacted, it went, oh, okay.
Yeah, almost like it laughed, like, oh, finally she acknowledged me or said something or moved or, yeah. Because I think I froze, you know, like there was that uncomfortable silence where we're checking one another out, like, hi, what are you? Hi, what are you? You know, and just like if you had seen, oh gosh, just an unusual color animal or something in the forest, like you had never seen before, but there wouldn't be that much of a pause, you know? You know, when you see something that is only a figment of what people say is just, you know, like someone's imagination, or it doesn't exist, or, you know, it's like seeing Santa Claus, you know, you're just kind of like, you know.
That I seeing what my brain is telling me I'm seeing.
A lot to work out, process, isn't it? It's such a small amount of time.
It is, and I think it, you know, like it wasn't until like honestly some of these shows started coming back on TV that I even really thought about it so much, and then I wanted to just grasp everything I could on the subject, you know, because I don't think like there was a lot of information out there, or, like, you know, like even available to even investigate or explore until, you know, it kind of blew up, at least for me in these last few years. You know, it's just really people are more open to it seems like, and more willing to even toss the idea around.
How's that?
Good. That's killer.
Wow, Larry.
He's got the cheeks now.
He's got those athletic, like, you know,
still got the jaw.
The runner's cheeks, yeah.
It's exactly like what I demonstrated, right?
He's got the Bruce Jenner. I think of it like the Bruce Jenner cheeks. Remember when he was running and he had those cheekbones?
Was he in his high heels?
Right.
Before the high heel decade, I had just seen a clip on him today back before he switched over when he first married the older Kardashian. I don't watch those guys. They're sort of ridiculous, but
Yeah, Kris Jenner.
back when he was still Bruce Jenner, back when he was still male.
No, Caitlyn, isn't it? It's Kate. She's Caitlyn now.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it still
Isn't
have
that
a thing?
something?
It's still male.
I'm not sure, actually. Not sure how far.
I'm sure someone in the chat that knows.
Yeah, I heard that that she had a complete sex change or whatever. So, which a lot of people, I guess they don't finish that or whatever, but apparently Caitlyn did.
Lots of different stages, isn't there, I guess, and money.
All right, let's get back to Bigfoot.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
So have you ever looked into if that place is a regular spot for encounters?
I did. And I didn't, I was kind of disappointed because I didn't see, I did see some encounters in Montana, but nothing specifically, saying that road. But of course, a lot of time I did do a report on BFRO, but just so much time has passed since then that it's just too difficult to know if that creature would even still be around or so it's kind of disappointing because I'm not finding specific reports. What was interesting though is, so I've watched a couple of shows on like people that have gone, like survivor type people, like Les Stroud, his episodes where he goes, I want to say, he goes way up somewhere they don't in Canada, and it's a very rocky area, and it was becoming like that, very, very boulder like and rocky up in the area that we were heading towards. So I don't know if he was almost blocking us from his territory, because it was becoming like, where there were big boulder slabs, kind of at that high of an elevation, you're still in the tree line, but you're entering the area where there's starting to be, some big boulders and, which would make sense since we were hiking, towards a waterfall. So.
And so, you never had another encounter since, or anything close to?
No, I mean, I've definitely heard some sounds. We've I've been wanting to go out to Salt Fork because, of course, I'm from Ohio, so I've been wanting to go out there. But I do remember going down to Lake Cumberland, Kentucky, a few times, and in the quiet of the night, hearing howls, and thinking that, that what is that? That must.
What's making that sound?
And on more than one occasion, like all throughout my life, but especially down in the Lake Cumberland and Dale Hollow area around the lakes.
How are we doing?
That looks incredible.
Oh, it does.
That'd be my favorite one. Just the structure, the face is. I mean, and obviously, I don't know how accurate it is, but
I would say his lips were definitely thicker, going, from here to here.
Show.
Hang on.
Dick, maybe double that.
From here?
Like
show
a
Larry
wide.
Show Larry what you mean.
Like from here to here, so the height, I guess, of the whip. sorry, the height of the lips, not the width. So the height of the lips was, I'd say, at least double that.
The thickness of the lip that he's
Yeah.
showing from the top.
Right. So each lip, like where it starts is good, but each lip is double the height of what it is now.
Oh, gotcha.
And then there was a little bit of teeth, maybe equal to the width of one of the lips that you could see, or half of that, just a small, you could see the two teeth meeting.
Could you tell
and
structurally were the teeth crooked, or could you
no. No, they appeared straight. Now I couldn't see if he had large canines or anything like that. So I just saw like this part, like the front teeth and a little bit over here. It didn't go all the way to the canines.
I gotcha. But you saw the definite appearance of the teeth themselves.
Of the teeth, right. And the mouth was a really interesting mouth. It's hard to describe. It definitely wasn't ape-like and it wasn't human-like, but it was really wide and it curled up, on either side. Like just Joker? A really, like a what?
Like the Joker and the old Batman from the
Not quite that high, but yeah, about half that high.
But that kind of structure?
Yeah. Yeah, curled up right at the end. It's like he's grinning so broad that and it could have been the muscular structure of his face, curled up at the ends.
And your snapshot of this this figure was what we're talking about now. Was that at the point when you said, "Hey, Bigfoot," and it went, "Ah"?
And that's when I got the broad grin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
when
the
snapshot we're looking at. Response. Yes. Response look. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Cool.
That lower lip picking up.
How's that looking now, Heidi? Better?
The top lip was a little wider.
Right.
And
how's that?
But definitely it curled up more. The bottom lip is good. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm rushing. Don't mean to rush you.
No.
Heidi, you're saying it curled up on the ends, right?
Yes.
Okay. At the corners of the
I
mouth?
would say like about an inch or probably an inch. I mean, it had a good, like you said, like half of a Joker smile.
I always find myself when I'm watching him draw is making the face of whoever he's drawing.
It's amazing. It really is.
What a smirk.
Yeah, and right now he looks a little more menacing than he appeared. He had this like so yeah, like a very happy, like surprised and happy at the same time. Big grin. Happy to see me, but maybe not so happy to see a group,
Mm-hmm. He's got a bit of a smirk on there.
Yeah.
The smirk is definitely improving. And I would say that this area above the mouth definitely protruded below the nose. That area, that line from here to here.
Mustache area?
It wasn't a mustache, right? But that area that an ape would have, it was definitely protruding. I would say equal to the brow line. It protruded that much.
Oh.
Yeah. You know
Bigfoot is brought to you by the Kneadable Eraser, the greatest eraser ever for any drawer ever.
You know the lady that they talk about on Expedition Bigfoot and how her mouth protrudes almost like a chimpanzee or something? It's like that.
More
in the
rounded.
comments, everybody, name somebody in your family that's mouth protrudes like that.
Yeah.
And tag
I
them.
can't think of anyone.
A bit like Bart Simpson. Maybe a bit like Bart.
Yes, yes. Bart and Homer Simpson. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, the overbite, they call it.
And it was a little darker in that area around the top where that line is from the nose to the mouth. It was darker there too.
Oh, more shaded
Mm-hmm.
in the mustache area?
Yes.
The mustache region. That's a good.
He almost had above the lip. He almost had a gorilla protrusion, a gorilla shading and protrusion, like I don't know how to describe it, like a chimpanzee or a gorilla mouth on above the lips.
Oh, below the nostrils and the tip of the nose to the upper lip.
Right.
That area? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say, did he have the divot between the, whatever they call it?
Septum.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I saw more of it was more of a more like a gorilla with the way the top of the mouth to the nose protruded with that definite line. You know, where it's sort of rounded, rounded out.
Yeah.
So between the between
the
nostrils.
A bit like
yes.
A bit hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was kind of rounded? Well, not that one. I'm sure we've had one that was more rounded.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of
dark.
Maybe a bit like the top right one.
Mm-hmm.
Got some definition to it.
But with more of a definition and a darker coloring there.
So between the two nostrils and under the teeth, the tip of the nose, more shading under there.
Right.
Gotcha.
It was darker but it stood out. So I guess it would appear lighter. I don't know when you're drawing it, but it looked darker, I guess is what I'm saying. But it was like a rounded, like a gorilla or a chimpanzee or definitely an ape-like creature.
Gotcha.
And that in the brow line is the only thing that appeared ape-like, other than like, I would say his hands were a little different. The nails were super thick, and the hands were shaped, the hands were a little, I don't know if they were pointy or it looked like he almost had claws. His nails were so long,
Oh, wow.
I was going to ask you, actually, did you see anything else? So you saw the hands then?
The thing that struck me was I expected his body to have more hair on it, more like a gorilla or something, and it didn't. And that's what struck me as really odd. That, like,
was the skin tone darker?
It was tan. That's the only way I can describe it. Like someone that had been leathery, like someone who's been out in the sun for a really long time, but not black or brown. But I mean, brown in the way of like it would be tan, but like a Caucasian person who has a deep, deep tan that just, you can tell they've been out in the sun for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Or like an older person that lives in Florida that their skin has that leathery, dark, tan quality.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does this look now? Is that
Can you zoom in? Yes, I'd say that's a lot more closer to what I saw with the mouth.
When you look at it shape-wise and depth-wise, what jumps out to you to be the least accurate?
So I would say that the mouth part came out to equal the brow line, so the protrusion. So that area above the mouth from the nose line down to the lip line came out just as far as the brow. If not, like if he was to turn sideways, that.
So the chin would be darker because it would be more recessed. The chin would be less prominent.
Yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Interesting, the different versions of these things that we're now seeing on paper.
There's so many similarities, but
I'm just that the detail on this is incredible. But I think part of it, I was so close to him, that I, and I was hoping, I was worried I wouldn't remember, but as he's drawing, it's much easier to start to describe it. And
yeah, it's good. And it's nice that you're being specific, because that's what Larry wants. He doesn't want to be close. He wants to nail it.
And so, sorry again, you said the fingers. Felt like they'd gone to a point because the nails were pointy, were they, or just?
They were thick, like almost like if you see like a gorilla's nails, they're very they're thick, and they're, they weren't dark, but they had that thickness that human nails just don't have. Like they protrude above the finger, and the nails were so long they were almost like claws, and curved down. That claw-like, almost bear-like.
And how much hair on the hands? Just sparse.
No, I would say that it was like half hair, half skin, so you could peek through to see the skin. But since it was red hair, I think it was easier to maybe see the skin than some other people describe with the darker haired ones. So you could definitely see the skin, but it definitely had more hair than a man. You see a few men that have the hairy hands and everything, but all the way down to the fingertips, it was hairy, and to the tips of his toes, and even like underneath, the fingernail, and underneath like the toes, there was hair, which you wouldn't see on a human.
Yeah.
Wow. Sheila Ra's asking, because he laughed, did it make you feel less threatened? Did you,
for sure.
Did you even feel threatened though at the time? Just
No.
more surprised, shocked,
but I did not feel threatened.
Yeah, and because he kind of looked more human to you in a way, but slightly different. Like you say, a hippie in the bush.
A hippie in the bush.
How did you say that again, Daniela?
One more time for the record.
A hippie in the bush. Yeah.
Yeah, that do you guys know who I'm talking about with the guy that lives in Washington? He had a show. Well, this man, he's lived in the woods, I guess. He started doing that. He used to actually have a job and everything, and then he decided that he wanted to live simply, and so when he was like in his 30s, he moved to the woods of Washington and never came back. Because he enjoyed it so much, and he has that kind of look. He has that he, his certainly doesn't have the body hair of this thing, but that reddish hair that sort of broke off and split ends,
and he has show
wildness. And he had a show, that I used to watch on cable. And
does anybody know in the chat who Heidi means?
I'm trying to think of his name. He would I want to say they called him something like the Wild Man or something of that nature.
John Taro?
What?
John Taro or Tarno? The Wild Man of Wynoche, Washington?
Mick Dodge.
Might be. Was Northern Washington.
No, it's Mick Dodge.
Oh, Mick Dodge. Mick Dodge.
Give me the name again, Mark.
Mick Dodge, the Barefoot Sensei.
Yes.
The Barefooted Nomad. The Walking Mountain.
Mick Dodge, yeah.
Right.
I just came up with that, so.
Okay, so now the hair on
He
his
just
top
came
of
up.
That was just
You
off the top
probably
of my head.
did.
It was not Google. Mick
so
Dodge.
the hair on top of his above the
Yes, he had
ridge.
so he had, thick eyebrows, very thick eyebrows. And then he had hair. It was almost like bangs that were like off to the side, like curtain bangs, like long, like they had broken off. Like
now you said eyebrows. So were they eyebrows?
Like Shaggy from Scooby Doo. His haircut.
Okay, that doesn't tell me. Yeah.
Well, what you saying? What are you asking for? Eyebrows.
Yeah, the eyebrows.
So the eyebrows were very thick.
They're on the ridge.
Yes.
Okay. From here to here.
So a little bit beyond. I mean, while I waxed my eyebrows, but he had like very thick. So from here to almost where they met in the middle, but not quite.
Oh, okay.
Almost a unibrow, but not quite there. So yes, that's him.
Okay.
Have you guys ever seen him or heard about him?
I haven't. No, I haven't. Well, Bomber's asking, would you mind just doing the laugh again because she missed the beginning? I think she missed the beginning of the show when you said.
No, it's hard to do. It's like a but it's very deep and
Did you feel
resounding.
it? Did you feel it? Did you feel the?
Yes.
Mm.
Very deep male laugh.
Interesting.
But human-like, I would say the laugh, but yeah, obviously the structure of its face was not what's the guy's name? Nick Dodge or
John, you muted Mark. Mick Dodge, was it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he has the white beard. This thing I didn't see a whole lot of the beard, just a little bit of peach fuzz, around the chin.
Yeah.
So that was kind of why I was thinking maybe it was a juvenile.
Yeah,
not a
something
super
I wonder
thick
is
beard.
like, does the hair color, like with us, does it lighten with age?
Yeah, is it because he was redheaded, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep feeling like I'm out of focus because you guys have those big laptops. And I tried. I really did. I just.
How's those eyebrows look?
Okay. It's okay.
Good. I'd say, there was a little bit of a, it wasn't a complete unibrow, a little bit of
a little bit of a gap.
Yeah. And not quite so much hair on the top of the eyebrows. Like it wasn't quite so long. It was more, brushed off to the side, directed to the side. But other than that, yeah, really close for sure. Yeah, he really came alive with the now that you're filling in the.
How was the hair? Oh, you already told me. I'm sorry.
Oh, the hair color?
No, the way it was. You say it looked like it was parted?
Yeah, almost like in the middle. Yeah,
Okay.
like it was parted in the middle, and then the bangs sort of, mine are really long, but you know, almost like bangs, but like broken off.
How far would each strand, like if from the hair?
I'd
the
say
hairline?
it kind of went a little bit over the eyes, but you could see peekaboo of its brow.
Gotcha.
And you said it was a little bit like Shaggy.
Like Shaggy.
That kind of look, Larry. If you have a look.
Holy smokes!
How am I supposed to do that?
Well, not, but that kind of
Sorry.
definition, I guess.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time, Larry. I promise.
Oh, I know.
But
It's like wow.
Oh my gosh. And I shouldn't laugh, but it's the only way I can think to describe it. Or, you know, that haircut that I wouldn't call it a mullet, but it, you know, you've got the bangs in the front, and then you've got that long hair coming to the shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, around the ears, over the ears, and then to the shoulder.
Oh yeah, well that is a mullet. But yeah, it's like a
mullet-like, right?
Yeah, like an adolescent lion.
Right, but it wasn't shaved on the sides like a mullet is. You know, it grew over the ears.
Mm.
I mean, I'm really seeing a human face in this. You know, more so than.
Mm-hmm.
I think the eyes. I don't know. The eyes are different, aren't they? A little bit with the white. Maybe don't always get a description for the white.
Yeah, that white is really making it human.
Yeah, and the kind of outline, the face outline. So
yeah, I think that's what kind of like struck me. That's why it took me. I was trying to figure it out. You know what I'm looking at. You know, I think if I had run into, you know, the guy in Washington, then I think I would have been able to identify it as human. But there were other features that, you know, because it wasn't wearing any clothes, you know, I could see that definitely the hair covering was more than a human would have, you know, and the protrusion of the rounded area above the mouth, you know, was definitely not human.
And the height, everything, I guess, as well. There's a lot to take in, wasn't there?
Yes, for sure. And I laugh, you know, because like it wasn't scary, but you remember, you know, just like it was yesterday, that what you saw, and people can question you, but it doesn't really matter to you, because once you've seen it, then there's no question in your mind what you saw. So, and it's interesting how many different versions of, you know, they say the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch, which is obviously what I saw, is a little bit more man hippie like out west and in the Washington and Montana, Colorado area, and northern, you know, southern Canada, I should say. From what I've seen in pictures, it is a little bit not like the skunk ape, or something that is a little bit more ape-like as you move east, I guess.
Well, this of Matt Zasky, this was down in Florida, you know, which is what he'd call a skunk ape. And it just seems like they maybe are adapting to their environment, whichever way they need to.
Right.
I don't know. It's just interesting, isn't it, to see the differences in them.
Definitely.
Like some people saying, you know, Jean in the chat says that everyone's different. We all look different, don't we? So maybe that's all it is that they just look different because we do.
Right.
How's that looking? Does it need a bit? Is it?
It needs to be a bit longer, like little strands coming down, covering the brow. Yeah, almost like it's pushed to the side a little bit so he can see.
Oh, so like the hair is.
Yeah, like this, where, you know. Well, let me check my glasses off. So pushed like this, you know, like almost like he's trying to tuck it back to where he can see.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So it normally would grow to here, but he's pushed it out of his eyes.
Right. Yeah, and I can't see without my glasses.
That's why
for
you have them,
camera's
right?
sake. Uh-huh.
I can't see without my eyeballs.
I used to be able to, and then once I started wearing glasses, you become dependent on them. So got that 40. All of a sudden, I turned 40 and couldn't see anything anymore.
And how far away were you from this? About 5 foot? Did you say 10 foot?
No, less than 5 feet. I mean,
wow. That was
because he advanced forward. I'd say I was about 5 foot from the tree, and he sort of stepped out from behind the tree. But he was large enough. There was still like a quarter of him to a third of him behind the tree. So he kind of came out, like part of his body from the tree, stepped to the side and out a little bit.
It's getting longer hair now.
Yeah, and it definitely came down the sides, right? And to the shoulder, and maybe flipping on the shoulder like an inch or so, to where it was kind of like flipped up, you know, sort of this length here, where it sat on the shoulder.
Is that about where the shoulder sat with you, about the ear?
No, you know, I would say his shoulder, he didn't have much of a neck, but his shoulder probably started where the mouth line is, the edge of the mouth.
Okay.
But there was a neck, but it was, you know, more like a weightlifter's neck.
Thick.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you need to bring me back on screen, I'm happy to demonstrate. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
The athletic.
He's got it all, hasn't he? Mark's got it all.
Wow.
Please don't.
I know, I'm kidding.
That face, that face is incredible.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It is.
When he gets the shoulders in, it'll really come together. And
the eyes are really popping too.
I'd
say the eyes were like maybe a little bit lighter, but I think when it's all filled in, the eyes definitely will come. I wouldn't adjust them right now, because I think that is the thing. You know, his eyes were almost hypnotic.
It's always the eyes, yeah.
You know, and as I'm looking at this picture, there's almost an Indian-like appearance. A little bit. Do you get that sort of like there's
a little bit, yeah. I know what you mean. The structure. I think it's about the structure, isn't it?
The structure of the face, yeah.
Yeah, the Mayan.
But he definitely didn't have like that black hair, you know, that long, dark brown black hair. It was definitely red.
Yeah. But it's just because we're doing charcoal and.
Yeah, but the face definitely. I mean, if he had a different color hair, he could definitely take on that look.
It's
It's
definitely
amazing.
the more human looking one that I've seen, or reminds me more of a human.
Yeah, this is the most human one we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was that I was running into a Neanderthal. Was kind of the first thought, and he's definitely captured that initial impression, you know, with the heavy brow and the deep set eyes, and the difference in the mouth structure that differentiates it for where you can see it's definitely not human. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's those little nuances that definitely make it set it apart.
Yeah. Damn, Fowler makes a good point. You sound you know, you are a very jovial person, and maybe that came across.
Thank you. I try to.
Good vibes. You know, like you said before, in the messages, when you think about it, the creeps you out, the stories that you hear, especially children.
Right.
But he could have had you if he wanted you.
Yeah, I think so, and I didn't get a bad vibe. You know, it was only after reading, you know, like the Indian accounts and things like that that I even started to think that, you know, was more recently, you know, like just having read that, but that would have never crossed my mind that that's what he was looking for, or trying to do, or anything like that. I didn't come off as threatening. Just like when you approach a dog or something and you can tell whether it's a threat or not, or a wolf, or anything else in the woods that's, you know, of a wild nature.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Oh, that's just awesome.
Is that him?
That's him.
All right, let's tweak him.
Okay.
That's so incredible.
It is. It's really incredible. I could have never done that without his help, for sure.
Has that took you back a little bit, seeing it like that?
Yeah, I would say his hair was a little bit longer, like the hair coming from his head was longer, and there was some hair, light hair coming from this area of the cheek.
All right.
I guess that's why I was saying the Shaggy, you know, how Shaggy had that little bit of reddish hair.
It's got a little bit of hair in the cheek then, okay. Like that, or a little bit more?
Like long stubble.
Like pork chops, sideburns.
Not really like I guess it's not really a sideburn. It was more coming
Like
up further on the cheek. Okay. Yeah, like the one on like the right-handed side that you've got there. Yeah, definitely.
And you say it was longer over here, or what were you saying?
I'm heading down towards the shoulder.
Yeah.
But I just like more of it, and coming up a little high. I guess his head was a little higher when I look at, just because I've taken drawing, you know, how the eyes are in the middle of the head kind of thing. Maybe there was a little bit more head, but not pointed, but just more of it on the top.
More hair up here.
Yes. So more of it coming down, more of that wild man, you know, hairy, but long hair, you know, more like a human's than an ape, coming all the way down and cascading towards the shoulder.
Like that?
Yes, yes. And then there was some hair on his chin. It wasn't extremely long though. It was like I kind of want to describe it as a goatee, but like a trimmed goatee. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know, it really is coming together. A little bit more like right in here.
In where?
The center
Chin.
of his chin. Uh-huh. Growing down into the very short beard, yeah. Wow. And it carried like that all the way around. Wow.
That's really brought it in, hasn't it? The face.
Mm-hmm. Wow, really makes him come alive for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Has he got the hair right?
I think the hair's comes out a little more and is thicker coming down like from the top of the head, just more of it.
Oops, like higher on the head? Higher on
A
the
little
crown?
higher on the head, a little bit, maybe an inch or so higher on the head, and then out more, like out from the face, coming down and then curling over the shoulder. So just like real long, shaggy, almost like rock star long, like Axl Rose long, or you know, that kind of long hair, 80s rock star long. Since that was my teenage years. Yeah, 80s rock star long hair.
Larry knows that look. And
Like
that.
Larry's hair. Oh my gosh, right.
This? If you need it again, here it is.
That's so funny. Yes, just draw your own hair. Draw a self-portrait of your
It's
hair.
more Sgt. Pepper, John Lennon than any Beatles references you can throw at him is
Will work.
yeah.
Mickey Dolenz. If he likes the Beatles, he knows the Monkees. The Mickey Dolenz long hair going down to the shoulder when his hair is longer.
A little more adultery.
Yeah.
That looks amazing. Just the shading in the face, just man, that always gets me.
Amazing. It's really good.
It's incredible. I'm surprised I didn't see more ears, but
How's that?
oh, that's great.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, I see some.
Yeah, I would bring his hair a little bit more, like, you know, like his sort of hiding behind it a little bit, as bangs. Just little strands that he's trying to control out of his face, but they're coming in over his eyes.
Like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. I would say it was a little longer in the middle, bang. Not covering the eyebrow or anything, but just longer. More to meet the other. And then moving off towards the side, on either side.
Thank you to Diane. Yes, we agree. Larry is amazing.
It is.
How's that?
Perfect. That's good. And then the shoulders, you could see that the shoulders were just like a hump of muscle. And then I would say that's him.
Yeah, we don't really have room for the shoulders, so.
Oh, okay. I know. Not the full shoulder. It was just, yeah.
All right.
Brilliant.
That looks awesome, Larry.
Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The likeness is unreal.
It's one of the hairiest ones I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, the thickness of the hair and the
Yeah, the top of the head was his head was definitely very hairy, and then the body was more it's hard to describe.
Some have that defined line, don't they, across the head, where the hair, you know, like that. Well, I guess it's got a bit of hair on there, but they all seem to have like a defined. Not all of them.
The brow line.
That fine line where the hair. Yeah. And
yeah, almost like they're cutting their hair with something.
somehow.
That's true. Does their hair not grow? Like, how does that work?
It's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe this has grown over his, well over his, that line.
You know, they probably could make some type of a tool out of like a stone or something and sharpen it to cut it away from, you know, so they can see. I wonder.
Maybe they, I don't know, rub their heads on trees or something to.
Well, you see like
who knows?
You see even like the apes using the tools to get the bugs out, you know, like to eat bugs and find like grubs and things to eat out of the tree bark and things like that. So
yeah,
there's no reason they couldn't, when no one was around, use the tool to trim their hair or around the face. Or maybe it just broke off because maybe it just dried out and broke off.
Well, and there's other, you know, how do lions, I mean, you know, it all must wear away at the ends at some point.
Right.
I mean, I know they must have better condition because they have more natural oils in the hairs than we do. Keep washing it, but I don't know how hair's kept to a certain length or how animals deal with it. It must grow it. Oh, my dogs have always needed grooming, you know, because it grows and you need to shave it off. Whereas, I mean, some other animals doesn't grow at all. It grows to one length and that's it. So.
Right. Like my German Shepherd, he sheds. But, you know, I've had comments from people like, because we groom them ourselves, oh, do you get it cut? Because their hair, there's like that V under their neck and where it looks like it's been groomed, but it hasn't been. So I'm sure that some animals just, maybe it just stops growing or, you know, like his hair just sheds incredibly though.
Mine's a Lhasa Apso, killed by Bigfoot. So yeah, they just grow, keep growing till you cut it. It becomes a mess.
I would think the sun, the combination of the sun and the wind and everything that it probably just breaks off.
Yeah, quite possible. Something must happen. Yeah. Resford, WG, High Cheekbones, First Nations. It's got an interesting look about this one. Different kind of aspects to it. So,
yeah, it just struck me, you know, very, very athletic face, you know, like you could tell the muscle tone in the face without even looking at the rest of the body. But
yeah, Sheila R asks, was his body thin or muscular?
Very broad and muscular. Even like the pectoral muscles and everything. Definitely built very, very broad
If you need to bring me back on screen, it's okay. I'm not embarrassed.
We'll be able to get you on screen, get your head on screen. I mean, at this point, we're not going to see much, like just the dot between your eyes.
That's so funny. Well, then you got to go shirtless, Mark.
Oh, Jesus. I'm in a dry heave.
Larry's left the chat.
I've thrown up in my mouth.
I'm kidding. we won't go there. But the gorilla, like a gorilla has such a broad, muscular, and it was sort of like a mix between that and a man, but more man-like. But definitely that whole definition of, how a gorilla, just has that presence that, wow, you're, was that rock and roll song, Give Me 3 Steps Towards the Door?
Oh, yeah.
If he was mad at you. Kind of look like, oh, give me 3 steps towards the door. That's I mean, if you saw that and it wasn't in a good mood, you definitely would want 3 steps, if not more.
Yeah.
Jackie Myers Loham, could you tell it was a male? You think he was, don't you?
Definitely to me it was a male, from the build. There was hair over the genital area, so I couldn't see any of that, but
flat chest.
Yeah, the chest over pectoral muscles, but it definitely wasn't breasts. And then the arms had that, you see the female Sasquatches though, and they also have that muscular build, but the defined biceps and, those huge hulking shoulders and the neck, and all of it. Because like I said, it was more like a cross between a human, I would say it's definitely more humanesque, but like if you've ever seen a Neanderthal's body, very broad and very muscular and imposing.
Sorry, I was on mute. Larry's gone.
Me too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Larry's gone. He's still gone.
Nobody's saying anything.
We scared him off.
I think he might have maybe sending me a photo, maybe a picture in a second. So he'll come back. I'm sure he'll come back. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting looking one. Adam Mark says they have a language, they're intelligent, and everything points to a type of being and not an animal.
Yeah.
Some intelligent animals, though, that maybe that have a language. Dolphins, whales.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
But not like we understand. Yeah,
I wish that I had like heard more of a language than just the laughter. Now that because this is like a once in a lifetime kind of an opportunity, but you're in such shock. Like, what do you say? Other than it's kind of like sunk in for a couple minutes, and then I had to break the silence, and then I didn't know what else to say after that. Yeah. Because does it even speak my language? What am I looking at? So.
Yeah, and 43 years ago you didn't have. Well, this is in 78, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have the years of experience to even for communication to have that kind of social awareness to go, hey,
yeah, there wasn't, there wasn't a lot of information on it. The only thing that I had ever seen was the Patterson Gimlin footage. And I had just recently seen that. So it just probably back in those days took a while to get to the Midwest, that information over the news channels. And so it was more of Oh, did you see that on the news the other night? Like it was the newest thing, even though it had happened, 8 or 9 years prior to that. The news was kind of coming over to our area, and then and then I remember maybe 6 months later, to run into this, it was like, wow, okay, that's what they're talking about. So
It's
it was wild. And I guess had I not, it's just very quick. Like you see the footage, and back then it was a lot more grainy than they've fixed it to be today. So you just kind of see that as a kid and go, I don't know what that is. It wasn't really any information for anyone to even research or right. It's just all so new.
Yeah, you didn't have the internet. Like say, how do you find stuff
Right.
out? You don't. You
Right.
can't. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Right. And as a kid, you're not going to if your mom doesn't believe you, you're not going to be able to go get a book on it.
Exactly. Or even talk to anyone about it.
Right. And I didn't really. I didn't until, more recently. I think I brought it up to like a few close friends, and you would get that, oh, sure, haha, like kind of thing. So I think more people that have heard something, or it seemed like the people that I knew that have ever heard anything in the woods are more open to it, or, something they can't explain than because that have lived, around different animals, that then they start to go, okay, that couldn't have been any of those things.
Well, we've now
Good
got.
question. Somebody just asked. Oh, sorry.
Which one is it? Sorry,
somebody asked, like, to bookend your story after your encounter, what did you do? Did you turn around and go the other way?
No. Well, it took off, so we continued to hike up toward where we were going to, and I didn't. I do remember, because I had ran up the hill like 200 yards ahead, and then after I saw the thing, I do remember being out of breath, like really out of breath. We were at a high elevation, and feeling almost sick, like. And I don't know, again, was I out of breath due to the elevation? Was I in some kind of shock? I remember having almost like a little asthma attack where everybody had to kind of stop. And then we continued on to where we were headed.
Yeah, some kind of endorphin from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Larry, for that question, by the way. Not Larry Batson, Larry Meitzner.
But we did definitely stop and pause, but I don't remember bringing it up to her or anything at that point. It was more like, okay, let's just get up the mountain and,
try and process it.
Yeah, I think at that point, it's kind of like, you're a kid, you're running, you're out of breath, and then you get stopped suddenly, and then afterwards, then that adrenaline going through you, and so you start to breathe heavy again. And as we continue to try to walk, I just sort of was like, okay. And at that point, we were, as the elevation increased, it becomes harder and harder, to breathe, especially if you have any kind of a lung condition.
Well, look, let's have a look at the finished piece. Are you ready, Heidi?
Oh, here we go. Here comes
Yes.
the tweak.
Wow. That's definitely him.
That's amazing.
That's incredible. It's just amazing. Especially the cheekbones are just amazing. And the eyes. Wow.
That looks great, Larry.
Thank you.
Yes, Larry, just completely amazing. Brought it to life for me, and can't thank you enough. But now I'm 100%, There was always that 1% or that 5%, but now that you've drawn it for me, there's no doubt.
It does look very human, and does look, almost like you said, that First Nations. It's unusual.
I gave him red hair too.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
How'd I
You
do
did.
that?
It's because magic.
It's called magic.
I know.
Whoa,
Amazing.
with magic.
Yeah, he's got red hair, and maybe it's tinted by the sun, from being out in the sun too.
Well, we hear about red-haired ones, don't we?
It's probably the conditioner that they use.
That Wella.
The VO5 hot oil.
It's conditioner.
The Creek formula number 5.
Herbal essence.
That is incredible.
Damn Bigfoot. Damn Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, they give us something to talk about, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They give us something to consider. Definitely. Could have been a ginger one. There's some nice colours of ginger and red. It all kind of blends into one, doesn't it? Or the other. But yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank
look
you
at
again, Larry, for your amazing.
Yes. I want him to sign it and send me a copy.
Yeah.
I need a copy of it now. Well, I might have to pay for that, but
Well,
donate to the animal family.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
That's the best.
I'll get you connected up with Larry, and
and I want to get like a copy of the clip too, so I can show my mom, because I don't think I'll ever. She's 82. I don't think I'll get her to understand technology enough to.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you a link. It'll be on YouTube, so
absolutely,
it's on there now. And yeah, it has been a good show tonight.
Yeah.
Mike Adventures.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Bomber. Big round of applause.
Larry, great job. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it? Seeing all these different ones. We're going to put another collage together of them all, and then we can.
Yeah.
Is that like once you stay on vacation? What would you say?
A what?
What do you say? A cottage?
Collage.
Oh,
collage.
Oh.
It's where you stay. You stay in a cottage.
I was saying a cottage.
A cottage full of collages.
My brain is fried now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It took a while to get there. It took a while to get
Yeah, it did.
It's just sometimes how it goes. It's not easy always to.
Yeah, you took a lot of time with me. I really appreciate it. I know we're running over, but awesome. I think it was worth it. The result was just out of this world. To me, that's the best one. But of course, I'm the one that saw it, so I'm biased. But
yeah,
I do that too. I always say, "Man, that looks just like the thing I never saw firsthand." So
it looks like my left uncle.
It does kind of look like that. It looks a little like Grizzly Adams, that lived up in the mountains.
Different suggestions tonight of what it might look like. One was Keith Richards, so it's gone from one extreme to the other. But look, I want to thank you again, Heidi, for coming on, because I know you're a little bit reserved about it, but you did it, which is great. And of course, Larry, for your patience and skills and getting it right.
I consider it a successful drawing when I look at it and say to myself, that thing would smell. That would smell bad.
You can practically smell it.
Yeah, that would smell bad.
It would.
He didn't smell though.
You're just downwind.
I was downwind.
What was his nose for?
Oh God.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you and Mark and Danielle for having me on. It was an incredible experience. Made me relive it. So that's probably as close as I'll ever get to seeing something like that again. I can only hope that I will. I keep wanting to go to Salt Fork for a long weekend and see if I heard in the primitive camping area there that they something comes around if you primitive camp there, but I don't know if I could do that. I have to have a whole group of people to
It's
get
called
the
Mark
nerve up.
DeWorth. It's called Mark DeWorth.
He roams.
Go with
That's what stalks the campgrounds. Lurks.
Mark DeWorth?
Yeah.
Is that somebody you know?
Oh yeah, he's in charge of the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. So he's promoting that thing year round.
He roams.
He just lurks.
Yeah, but I it's not just on there that I've, I mean, there's quite a few. Well, on the BFR website, the accounts are that something comes to that primitive area. So.
Yeah, that sounds pliable because everybody's there, and I'm sure there's a lot
Not
of
everybody can
attraction.
afford a regular campsite, so that's what's going on.
Well, they seem like curious things, don't they? So it wouldn't surprise me if they do come around. And
I think I'd have to do a little bit more glamping, than the camping, and maybe wander with some friends into the primitive area at night.
We'd have to stay in a hotel. I'll go out and do a drum circle, but I gotta stay in a hotel.
Well, they actually have cabins there where you can bring your dog and everything. Because I certainly would want to have my dog with me. I think.
Definitely. Well, give it the dog first, and then you've got a chance to run. Then, haven't you? At least. I mean,
do you know
well,
what
yeah,
Sasquatch calls a dog?
I've heard some. I don't know if I wouldn't want to. I've heard that they can eat dogs. So
you know what Sasquatches call dogs?
What?
No.
Bait.
Appetizing?
Bait.
Paint. This is a 125-pound German Shepherd, but he could probably throw him
That's starter main course and sweet, isn't it? I mean, all in one there. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. Nothing will happen, and you'll go out and you'll have a distant encounter. Not quite close up. If you want to see it again, I mean, I do get it. It's a curiousness, isn't it? Once you've seen one, I can imagine you want to see one again, but there's a lot that goes with that. So what does Wes Gamer say? Be careful what you wish for. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't know. For me, it wasn't a scary experience, but it may have been the age factor. Could have been a whole, that was so long ago before anybody started harassing them, or so there's a lot of things that go into that, but it surprises me when people describe it as violent or aggressive.
Yeah.
Different encounters for different people. Sorry, Mark.
Sorry, shout out Steve May. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I think too. They're just like people where, there's the grumpy old man that's like, get off my lawn, and then, and then somebody else who's just perfectly nice, like, oh, come play,
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, look, guys, we're coming up to, we've gone past 2 hours. I better let people go. People got work. I've got bed to go to because it's
6 a.m. there now.
Nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. The sun's going to be coming up soon. Might as well just stay up at this point. But no, I'm going to go to bed. Once again, thank you, Heidi.
Thank you guys for taking so much time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
I'll get you connected to Larry. Larry, thank you again. Awesome, amazing as always. Mark, glad you made it this time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and thanks to everybody in the chat that was here tonight. It wouldn't be the same without all you lot. And thank you, Steve May, for joining the Hidden Existence family. I'll see you all on Saturday night, guys, on Hidden Existence. I've got Mark Zaski coming on. We're going to talk about MUFON. So until then, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.